Hello everybody, happy Monday afternoon on the last Monday of February 2023. Welcome, come into the room. Today we're going to check in on how the rest of the month is ending, meaning the last 2 days. Well, today is kind of halfway done, so we're really talking just about tomorrow, and planning on ending the month well. But today I wanted to kind of conclude about the theme that I've had this month when I've been talking to my clients, when I've been talking to my caregivers, when I've been talking with you guys, when I've been talking with myself. And that has been the concept of love, right? It's been Love and Black History Month, but mostly it's been about self-compassion, because we can't function in a relationship with others, or even taking care of others or taking care of ourselves, unless we have the same regard for ourselves that we have for other people. So that's what I wanted to kind of conclude about today. See how you guys are doing. How was your week last week? It was a busy weekend for us. My husband was leading worship in Arizona for an event for the African Nazarene Foundation, African Nazarene University Foundation, get together, right? And so we had a lot of stuff going on here, and my favorite, as always, are the community conversations on mental health, which was the Cats and Convo that I do on Thursdays with our friends who own the Upper Cats Barbershop in Delray Beach, and they created the Cats and Conversations, which is at the end of every month, every last Thursday of the month at 6 to 8 p.m. at the Upper Cats Barbershop in Delray. And I also run a caregivers group at Trinity Delray Lutheran Church, and it's always on the first and third Tuesdays of the month from 1 p.m. and it's a Christian caregiver support group. It's a faith-based support group. And if you're asking why, that's because there's a lot of support groups in town, but there are very few support groups for caregivers that are faith-based. And caregivers want to talk about the impact of faith and how it's helping them out. So that's what I love about that particular caregivers group, and it's been an amazing group. They're all older than me, they're seniors, and so there's a lot of wisdom. So if you have a caregiver in your life, or if you're a caregiver and you live in Palm Beach County and you've been looking for a faith-based caregiver group, please feel free to contact me. Again, we meet on Tuesdays, the first and third Tuesday of the month at 1 p.m. at Trinity Lutheran Church in Delray Beach. The church is on Swinton and Lake Ida. So that's a little bit about some of the community groups that I do or run or facilitate. So I'm online, so I have my comments pages up. So you guys, how are you doing on the self-compassion that we've been talking about over the last 1 month? What are some of the things that you're doing that have been helping you? So I'll give you a good example. Part of the work I do, you all know that I do a lot of I do mental health therapy and couples therapy, marriage and family, as well as mental health. I'm licensed in both, and I am a huge advocate for relationships, healthy relationships. And one of my goals is actually helping couples discover when they need to let go of the relationship they're in. This is hilarious. You can laugh along with me. So I was like, oh, it's so hot. And so the sun is moving under a tree, and now I'm like, oh, I'm looking back and see where I can move. All right. Anyway, so this is a somber topic, but I help couples also figure out when to break up. And not continue a relationship that's not working for them. And that's usually based just on questions. And it has to do with, what are you looking for yourself? How is this relationship either feeding or taking away from you? And if it's taking something from you, is it something that you were willing to give, or was it more than what you were willing to give? And if it's more than you are willing to give, are you in a place to reevaluate what you want to give to the relationship? or do you need to move on? And in that regard, I'm really talking about relationships where the couple is either dating or engaged, right? When it's a marriage relationship, the couples that I've seen over the years, and the most serious ones, of course, there's already been a conversation about either separating or getting divorced. By the time they come to see me, something has happened along that line. And in that case, it's different because they already have a legal contract with one another. They have a contract with their families, a love contract. They have a contract before God if they were faith-based people, whatever faith they're in. So that kind of relationship is not just about breaking it up, but it's about figuring out where do you want to go from here. And some of the questions that I always filter out is if there's domestic violence involved. Because if there's domestic violence involved in the relationship, then the dynamics of the therapy session and the interventions changes. I firmly believe in safety. And being a faith-based person, I know that in the church at large, in general, we've struggled with what to do about the issue of people's safety, couple safety, people who've been abused, how safe they feel in those relationships, because maybe we've been part of a messaging that says you need to stay no matter what. And I am not in that group that says you need to stay no matter what, because children can really experience a lot of damage when there's abuse in the relationship, and it affects the children, it affects the parents, and affects the children. So some of the resources that I give include resources on where to find help if there's abuse going on in the relationship. And normally in therapy, we do not advise the couple doing counseling together if there's abuse going on. There needs to be separate counseling for the victim, the one who's on the receiving end, and then for the perpetrator, the person who has not been able to control their anger, and this is how they react towards their spouse. And one of the things that I want to share today, I said on there that I'm going to share wellness resource, and I really felt a strong urgent need to share this. Okay, one of the resources I want to point out is it's called lifesavingdivorce.com. So you don't need that, but if you have a friend who's not sure they're experiencing abuse, safety is an issue, and they've gone through the counseling, they've gone through maybe the shelters if they're here in the US, and I know in Africa they're starting to implement shelters as well. This website is a Christian-based website. It's called lifegivingdivorce.com. Just type it in and see some of the things to look at if you need to make a decision on where to go, and need a faith-based approach to figure out if this relationship that is resulting in physical harm, emotional harm, and mental harm needs to continue. Sometimes I've heard us in the church say emotional abuse doesn't matter because you just take it. And I know if you guys have been watching the news on what's happening in the evangelical church, we have a couple of churches and pastors and ministries in trouble because they advise the women to stay with abusers. They advise the women to stay with husbands who are abusing not just them but abusing the children as well. And so the church at large is moving away from that. Okay, so I want to talk about that particular resource, lifegivingdivorce.com. I also want to talk about one of the other things that people bring up, and it ties with February too, because to be honest, the month of love is not just about all the good stuff that's happening. I wish it was. There's still stuff that's happening that you don't want to see happen, but it is happening. So I want to talk about, for example, if you're dealing with infidelity, one of my favorite resources for couples, because it has a free quiz, free boot camp for couples, at least a place to start before you decide what to do. And that website is affairrecovery.com. It is a faith-based website, but I love the reality, the way they walk couples through. deciding and making really important decisions on where to go next if your relationship is dealing with infidelity at all. So I don't want us who have been experiencing, I don't want the people on here, if you're watching this, if you've been experiencing a tough time in your relationship, to look at February and Valentine's Day and the whole theme about love and switch off and say that's not your experience and you don't know where to go. This is why I want to show you where to go, so that you know that there's help, especially if you're dealing with infidelity of any sort. This is a place where you can decide whether you want to, what steps you want to take next in your relationship, if you want to repair the relationship or if you want to figure whether it's time to move on, whatever that means for you. So a lot of the couples that I've worked with decide to stay together, but every once in a while I have the honor of also helping couples decide that the best thing they could do is separate, or in the case if they're dating, to break up, and each of them moves on to the next thing that they're doing that is a benefit for them, which is their best act of self-compassion towards themselves. When there are children involved, I always recommend therapy, not just for the family, not just for the couple, but to also find a way to get the children either in a free group as you're going through what you're going through, especially if you're separating or getting divorced. I like the same way that I refer to griefshare.com for people dealing with grief. There's divorcecare.com for families that are going through the divorce process and are not sure what to do. Even for the children, I referred a couple, I think a month ago, for resources for their children as they decide whether to separate, and as they were going through that process. Divorce Care for Kids is a support group for kids that helps them process what's happening with mom and dad and be able to figure out where to go from there. So anyway, so that's been about, if the relationship has not been working, some of the resources, if you've decided to move on, some of the resources for that. So if you're on here, if you're a friend on my Facebook, I cannot do therapy with you. It's crazy. My field is insane. We're not allowed to do therapy with friends, legally, ethically allowed to do therapy with friends or family. We can only consult or coach. So I can consult with you, I can coach you, but I cannot give you therapy. But the thing I can do is I can give you epic resources, and I can point you to some amazing therapists that I'm aware of, either they're in our friend group or they're in networks that I'm aware of. No matter where you are, if you're here, if you're in Africa, I can be able to help you with that. To be able to figure out, especially if you're in Kenya, I can be able to kind of connect you with a group. So that's a little bit about the therapy and consulting as far as relationship resources and love resources are concerned. You guys also know that I'm big on helping you figure out where to go for therapy for a low, either affordable or low cost resources, especially here in Palm Beach County. If you're in Palm Beach County, if you're not in Palm Beach County, I can also help you figure out what to do. So don't sit with issues going on in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, in your body, and you know that you're experiencing emotional stress, mental health stress, sometimes even spiritual stress that's connected to mental wellness or emotional wellness or relationship issues, because I'll be able to help you figure out what to do next, who to talk to next. Okay, even if I can't counsel you, I can consult with you and coach you, and those are two different things. Therapy goes in depth. We look at the heart, we look at patterns from your childhood, we look at the mind, ways to work through it, how to deal with your emotions. We give you tools, skills, we get you to self-reflect. So it's a lot of that work. I also shared last time, or rather I've shared online, I don't know if I shared with you guys live, that I had a coach in 2021 and I loved it. So Coach Becca, if you're on here, Coach Beck, if you're on here, I'm kind of plugging you in. She was amazing in just giving me questions that helped me reflect on the issues that I needed at the time. So I do also recommend coaches when you want to know where to go from here. So those are some of the things that I want to point out as far as resources for self-compassion for yourself. So the other thing that I want to talk about before we close out is just asking you guys how you've dealt with unmet expectations, right? That's my challenge for us today, this week, as we think about it. Unmet expectations, unmet expectations for yourself, or for other people in your life, and how you've been able to deal with it. I'm big on that. My first conference that I organized, seminar conference that I organized, was actually based on that, and I'm going to do it again. Just helping you work through that, helping myself work through that, right? How to deal with unmet expectations. A lot of the work that I do, at some point, either with individuals or couples, we end up talking about the expectations game. What do you need to stick with? What do you need to drop? I just go through a whole plethora and assessment on how to process that in your life. So this coming month of March, thank you for everybody who's tuned in. I've seen people pop in and out. I'm online right now. I'm kind of checking if anybody has left any questions yet. I'm not seeing any questions yet, and that's okay. If you have questions after the live, just feel free to contact me about it. So let's talk about March. So I'm excited about the sessions that are coming up in March, because March is the month of love. I see somebody on right now, but I'm not able to see who's on. So welcome. So the month of March is Women's Month, and also the Let's Move, which is about workout and health. And it was originally started by FLOTUS, the first African American First Lady of the US, the one and only Michelle Obama. She's the one who started Let's Move. And so it's taken off, and it's continued all these years, and really the focus has become a lot on health. So March is going to be about movement, and of course women's health, but movement and how that helps us. So I have a couple of really cool people that we're going to talk to about that, just to get ourselves motivated on moving and movement, and what a difference it makes in our mental health and our emotional health. Hi guys, welcome. I can see a couple of people online. So how it helps us in our mental health and emotional wellness. I love walking, and I'm stepping up my walking and my workouts, and I want to challenge us too. Even though March begins on Wednesday, how many of us have gym memberships that we never get to use? All right, and we need to go use them. I know my husband has a thing or two to say about that, because I go to the gym, but not as much, because I love being outdoors. As you guys can see, this is fun for me. This is in our backyard, and I love it. I love being outside. So I want to challenge us about that. What your expectations are for yourself in the month of March, as far as wellness, not mental wellness, emotional wellness, mind wellness, relational wellness, and most importantly, how your body feels, and how you are using your body to help change how you're processing things. So I'm not going to stay much longer than this, probably about 2 more minutes and I'm out. So I practice, one of the therapy modes that I use is called cognitive behavior therapy. It's actually my favorite, to be honest, because it connects deeply to how I process things, and also how my faith works through issues. And that's one of the main ways we were trained. I was trained in therapy in grad school. And what it is, cognitive therapy looks at the connection between our thoughts, our actions, which is behavior, and our feelings, which is emotions. So thoughts, actions, feelings, right? Thought, behavior, emotions, and how that wheel of three, each side can affect the other one. It's not the only way to work through things, because a lot of the work that I do with couples, and the work that I need in my own relationship, marriage relationship with my husband, has to do with emotional wellness. And so there's all kinds of therapy models that are out there. In case you are thinking about it for yourself, I can help you kind of process what that would look like. Again, if you're a friend on here, I'm an awesome consultant and coach. I cannot see you for therapy, but I can give you great resources, and I thrive on that, being able to point you out to resources that are helpful. I've actually had clients call me, and I show them where to go for good for good sessions, for good therapy that is affordable, or if they're working within their insurance system, how to be able to process that. As we close out, I just want to say today, one of my clients wasn't able to make the session today for the best reason. She had her baby. So it just made me think about life and love, and that no matter what season we are in life, we can always do with self-compassion. And self-compassion is giving ourselves the same regard that we give for other people. And as I was thinking about her and the baby, and a couple of clients that I've been working with are parents, so we talk about how they show up for themselves so that they can show up for their kids, because our kids are watching us and they watch how we show up for ourselves, to be able to, we're a mirror for them. So they'll do what we say sometimes, but they'll definitely do what we do, which is they act the way we act. So I want to challenge us all, friends, anybody else who's watching, friends, family, anyone else who's going to see this later on whenever it's on YouTube. I want to challenge you as we close out in February. How are you going to practice self-compassion for yourself? Feel free to share however you can. And I want to challenge you on that as we move into the month of March, showing yourself the same regard that you show for others, the caring attitude that you have towards others, showing that same care for your own mental wellness, emotional wellness, relationship wellness, your relationship with God, or whatever spirituality you practice. Just how to show up for that so that your own mind and spirit is fortified. I just had conversations this last, I want to say 2 months, with different clients about how to fortify your mind and how to fortify your heart and how to fortify your spirit, so that when you're attacked and when things come at you, you don't crumble. You feel them, you'll absorb them, because we're human. You'll absorb the feelings, but the goal is for you to still be standing, to say that song, if you watch Sing the movie, to be able to say that song, I'm still standing, whatever the song, the other words, I think it was an Elton John song, to still be able to say that I'm still standing no matter what, right? So that's my challenge for us, guys, and I hope that you will have an amazing rest of the month, which is really just tomorrow. Happy Black History Month. I've been able to do a lot of awesome stuff in the community, just helping with wellness, our wellness in the community. So Black History doesn't end because February is over. Black History is 365 days a year. So I just want to put that out there for everybody who's on here. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and we will talk again next week and after that with a couple of awesome guests. Take care. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and happy March, because March starts on Wednesday, March 1st. So let's move, okay? I'll be at a pep rally. I'll attend a Let's Move event, a couple of them, and move and dance and do all that fun stuff, because dancing is movement too, and dancing brings joy. Dancing changes our hormones. Dancing affects your heart rate, just makes you feel better. So I'm a huge proponent of that. Yes, faith people dance too, okay? You should. I mean, whatever the Lord created us to do, you can't sit there and be like, oh, I just don't wanna. So go ahead and enjoy it. He created us with that ability to hear the beat and not stay still. Every child moves whenever they hear the beat. So let that child inside you come out. Enjoy the beat, enjoy the music, and happy March, my friends. And for everybody who's logged on, thank you so much, even for however long you've watched. Take care. God bless you guys. See you next week. And again, happy end of February, happy beginning of March on Wednesday. Bye bye, guys.